What's in my gym bag 2021? Let's get into it. First off, outside the bag are my Nike Metcon 7s, just usually because I walk into the gym with them. They're my go-to shoe. I did a review on it. I am so pleased. You could see how beat up and how nasty they are. I should really clean them, or I should actually get another pair. And yes, I am gonna do other reviews on other shoes like Pumas, New Balances, Innovates, but when I find a product that I really love, it's hard for me to get away from it. And I love the Nike Metcon 7s. And people say, oh, it's just because it's the latest and greatest. Not true. I did not really appreciate the Nike Metcon 6s as much as I definitely do this. The lace lock has proven to be an amazing feature, surprisingly, because it's so simple. For things like double unders, I just never have to worry about tying my shoe. And just something I'll get into, because I have the Romaleo 4s in my bag, is the design, the balance. Just go check out my video if you want to see more in depth of the Nike Metcon 7s. And I just absolutely love the shoe and just completely pleased with it. Now, people always want to reach out to me with the morality of buying Nike, with the sweatshop and everything. Maybe I'll get into that in a future video about the economics and morality of all that. But for now, I'm here to talk about what's the best product in my opinion, and it's the Metcon 7s. So here they are. The bag. If you haven't seen this, because really gym bags don't appear to be that big of a search topic, is the Haven Athletic gym bag. This is the large duffel, brand new startup company. I've spoken with the owner Caleb and the inventor multiple times. This is hands down the best bag I've ever used. And I'm not exaggerating. I have no financial interest in this company. When I find a product that I really appreciate, I am going to promote the hell out of it. So here it is, and I love it so much so that other companies have reached out to send me bags and I've denied them, because like I said, when I find a product that I really enjoy, it's hard to rip me away from it. And I can just tell by looking at bags, because I've bought, I think, 11 different gym bags trying to find exactly what I want. I'm very picky with everything. I just want it to function in the way that I need it to. It's just hard to rip me away from it. So until something else comes along, which I would of course share with my audience here, this is the bag that I'm gonna use. And it's all about that when I open up the bag, I can look into it and I can see where everything's at, and it's neatly organized, and it is of enough size where I don't have to sacrifice space. I believe I talked about it in my last 2020 video, that sometimes I'd go to the gym and I would just forget something or not have it because I was just working with a finite amount of space. This is the large duffel. I'm sure most people don't need it because there's things in here that, here, I have a Joby tripod just because I shoot content for this. I was actually doing qualifier workouts for the Fittest Experience, which is a CrossFit competition here in Austin, Texas, or I see some people doing the qualifier workouts for Wadapalooza. They need to be recorded. This is just a handy tripod if you're not into film that you can use, and you can just do attach to different things. So quickly, I carry extra gear, camera gear, that a person normally wouldn't. But because of the size, maybe you're someone that works out at lunch and you have your toiletries and your spare clothes in here. This definitely gives you enough room. It's got the large compartment here on the left, and that's where I see a lot of people putting their stuff. But for me, I work from home. I just go to the gym, bring my duffel, and I've got everything in it. It's got pouches up here. It's got a side pouch here that I put, whether it's a t-shirt that I took off that's really sweaty, or these knee sleeves because I just did the Chad workout, so these things need to air out, or the shoe garage in front. And actually, since we're done talking about the bag, let's go to the other pair of shoes that I have. The beautiful Nike Romaleo 4s. In my last video, I had the Do Wins, which was a cheap version of a shoe. Like, they're good for wide feet, and they're just a cheap $100 version of a Olympic lifting shoe. And if you don't know why you would need one, maybe I'll do a video on that in the future. But it's all about ankle mobility. It allows you to get deeper in the squat, gives you more stability. I mean, the big thing about here is this protrusion around the sole, which really just splays out and disperses forces and just keeps you nice and stable when you're getting deep into a clean or a squat snatch. And if you look, you can notice the influence that the Romaleos had on the Metcon 7s with the protruding sole in the back. I love the lockdown, I love the laces. Nike just absolutely killed it with the Romaleo 4s. Compartment for water bottle, I use Yeti. I'm getting away from plastics. There's a lot of studies about plastics, even BPA free, which apparently the stuff they replaced it with was even worse than BPA. So I just drink everything metal. I'm in Austin. I absolutely love Yeti. Yeah, sure, I'm overpaying for what the product is. They just make good stuff. Reband. Here's the Reband knee sleeves that I use. I actually use these in Chad. I have some patella issues dating back from when I was a college athlete. Actually, the reason that I had to stop was either I was going to have to go to rehab for multiple years or get surgery. The success rate on knee surgery is pretty damn low. So just hung up the cleats and decided that I was just going to rehab it. And overall, I feel fine. I've ran marathons. I've done workouts like Chad today, which I've had some people reach out and say that they have patella issues. They couldn't see them doing it because it's the weight and it's 1,000 step-ups. But put these on. These are the 5mm, right in the middle, like the Goldilocks. They have a 3mm, which would be good if you really want to go overboard for Metcons to have less support and give you more mobility. And then they do have the 7mm. So if you're really wanting to get into some heavy lifting and you need that much more support with more constriction, then that's a route you can go. For me, the 5mm are right in between. They give me just the Goldilocks amount of support, and got these bad boys in camo because there's a lot of redneck in me just growing up in Missouri and Kansas and Indiana. Also, I do have these Reband wrist wraps too. Just a huge fan of Reband overall. It's mostly because of the elasticity that really just holds, and it holds sweat well and it cleans well. I can just toss these in, and because of the durability of these and how much I've really beaten the crap out of these, I went and got these. These are kind of a middle of the road again for my wrists. If I just want a little bit of support when I'm doing my cleans or muscle ups or maybe a large volume of push-ups, then I'll go ahead and put these on. Who knows if they're actually doing much, but if it's a placebo effect, that it's working. So Reband is my go-to for any sort of knee wraps and everything else. I got a towel in here. I sweat a lot. 2-pood belt. Not gonna talk too much on this. This was in my bag last year. Just absolutely love it. A lot of mobility. Gives me just enough support in the back when I'm doing any lifts, and especially around the core. For some reason, I'm not the skinniest guy. This is a size small, and I don't know. I don't know what a person looks like when they're bigger around the waist. I do have a 32-inch waist, so I guess that's small for a guy. And it's hard to tell. It is a black camo, of course, but I just love the belt. This is the official Olympic weightlifting belt for Team USA, and you know, it's good. It's not so much of like a leather belt that I used to use when I was much younger, because that's all they had, but I absolutely love it. It's 2-pood. We will talk about the 2 barbell collars that I have in my bag, the Rogue HG collars and the Eleiko open collars. OPPEN, they got an umlaut over the O, except apparently it's just called open. Did a review on these, have not done a review on these, but there is plenty of people out there that regard these as the best collars that you can buy, just mainly because it just keeps all the weight on the bar. If you check out my Eleiko open collar review, you'll see exactly how tough it is to move it. I didn't. I jumped on the damn plate and the plate wouldn't move. Now, the con of these, I guess if there had to be a con, is that you got to smush it down. So if you're in the middle of workout and you got to change plates constantly, then it could be an issue. Just constantly putting them on the plates, having to squeeze it down. But if you don't need to move weights that much, then you can absolutely just use these collars. But then you have these Eleiko open collars. Since I released that video, these have been my go-to. Whenever I need collars for any sort of workout, even if it's heavy, if it's like heavy cleans or clean and jerks and I'm dropping it from high overhead, I've actually been using these, and the weight actually hasn't been moving that much, if at all. Like, not that I can even recall. And just the minor convenience of being able to put the plate on, put this right next to it and clamp it down has been pretty awesome. And it just saves you like milliseconds or seconds in a workout when you're really breathing heavy. Say you're doing like a squat clean EMOM and you're going up in weight. Just that convenience is really, really nice. And I'm really surprised by these. So these are always my go-to for now, at least, when I need collars. RPM jump rope, did a review on this as well. Not much to say on this. It's the bearings, like durability, were another year of me using this rope, and I don't put oil or anything on it, and you just see that bad boy spin. Only one time have I actually had to replace the cable here, and that's because I was doing the 10,000 double under challenge for RPM, and I was doing it on concrete and everything, and it frayed, and then it started getting stuck on things. And it's only $8 to replace the cable, so it's not that big a deal. Absolutely love this. Anytime someone asks what kind of jump rope they should get, I always recommend the RPM, but I have seen competitors. I was just at the Roga Invitational, and I saw very, very similar, almost to the point where I question how they're not infringing RPM's patent, but there are other designs out there that are doing really well, and more variety breeds competition and creates better products, so I got no problem with it. I'm a meathead at heart. I got a dead wedge in here. Do you really need it? No, just for the convenience. I like to lift heavy weights. All right, we'll go to mobility. So these are new additions. Something I noticed is my lack of warming up and engaging certain muscles when I'm working out. So I have these TheraBands. I use these for just doing arm circles, giving me some minor resistance, doing some lat raises, getting my arms overhead. Because one thing to know is that just because you want to do a workout doesn't mean that your body is like, okay, these are the muscle groups we need to engage. So there are certain things. I like to watch Squat University's videos to see what kind of mobility warm-ups and everything that they have, and that's exactly why I bought these TheraBands. I don't know why there's 3 different ones. It just came with 3 different ones with 3 different colors. I keep them all in my bag, and maybe I'll just give a couple away if other people in the gym want to use them, but for now, I've got these 3. And then I have the Mark Bell Slingshot Hip Circle. This is just to warm up my hips, and I use them for glute bridges. I warm up my IT bands with it. It's just a great all-around warm-up device. I have my own just because, I know it's cloth, it's kind of nasty. Like the gym does have some, but this is a large circle, gives me the right amount of resistance that I'm looking for, and I love the quality of Mark Bell Slingshot products. We got this pocket timer. I don't want to have my phone on me when I'm working out. It's kind of like I'm in the zone. I don't want to have any distractions. Sometimes I work out during lunch and you just see the emails rack up. So some people might out there be like, hey, I just use my phone for timers. WOD Timer's a good app that if you want to do EMOMs, Tabatas, and all that, you can download. Actually, was using that before this, but this has a magnetic back. It is not a Timebirds timer, but it looks very much like a Timebirds timer, doesn't it? It's also about half the price. When I was gonna do, I was discussing with Timebirds, I wanted to do a review on their product. They weren't getting back to me, which is fine. A lot of companies don't do that. But then it gave me time to really read the reviews, and there was a lot of bad reviews on Timebirds. So that made me go on Amazon, look it up. This was something that popped up as a brand new product. I think it's only like 70 bucks, and it's 100% worth it to me. I love having my own clock. Sometimes I work out outside at the gym and I'm doing my own thing, doing long EMOMs. It's just better than having a phone. Boom. My Polar H10, the gold standard of heart rate tracking. I've done a review on this. I've used this multiple times. It's in my bag currently because I was just testing against the Whoop 4.0 that I'm wearing. If you haven't seen that review, go check it out. It's an ECG monitor, meaning it's actually getting the electrical signals from your heart and getting heartbeat right at the source. The reason you want to do that is for zone training. So I do the Hard Work Pays Off programming by Matt Frazier, and I absolutely love it. And I incorporate zone training because some of the EMOMs are for long periods of time. You're doing for quality. You're not going balls to the wall and trying to get your heart rate to 180. You're really trying to focus on your breathing, focus on form, and I will use and be like, hey, I only want to enter into this zone. The Whoop is absolutely great, just like any optical sensing, just even like the Apple Watch, for giving you overall average when you're working out. But none of them come even close to the accuracy of this if you're doing zone training. For triathletes, if you're a cyclist, a runner, you want to get an ECG monitor, and it is the Polar H10 that I would absolutely recommend. They're all great, but this is far and away what they use as a medical grade device. I got these. These are Clean Freaks. They've got some scent-free ones. I actually like the lavender. They are biodegradable, organic cleaning cloths that I absolutely love to use. It was more so in the realm of doing jujitsu that staph was a huge problem. You're constantly rolling on mats, you're rolling on other people, and just the spread of bacteria was kind of an issue. Not so much I get at CrossFit gyms, except sometimes I have my shirt off, I'm laying on the ground, there's staph everywhere. So I'll use this to wipe down if I'm not going immediately home to take a shower. So I keep these in my bag just in case of emergency. They smell good. I met this person at Wadapalooza a couple years ago. Looking forward to see if he's there again. Looks like he's doing really well. These are Clean Freaks. Highly recommend them. Getting close. These are just basic. These have been in my bag forever. Basic wrist wraps. They're cloth. They've got, I think they're called like friction holds. They got like a little rubber around here that go around your wrist. They give you more support than these. These are for heavier lifts. If I'm trying to set a PR in a squat clean or a jerk and really need my wrists engaged and locked in, I'll go with these. These are cheap. I think they're only like 12 bucks. Can't think off the top of my head. Some people have even made their own because it's not that hard. It's just a string with some fabric cut into the shape. But recommend these. Don't get anything too thick. Like I used to use, I can't remember, Harbinger. You get at Sports Authority. It's just too much, I think, especially when you're sweating. These do the job. This will be the last thing I talk about. Not too much to talk about here. These are grips. These are the Bear Complex grips. I think they're super popular in CrossFit. I don't like them at all. I've got big hands and it leaves a lot of area exposed, especially when it gets moving. And it's even more when you get your fingers in there, which to me is super uncomfortable. I also wear the Whoop strap, so it doesn't fit comfortably around there. I'm looking for something new to try out. I'd really like a holeless, bigger piece of material. So if there's any recommendation anyone has, please let me know. I just keep these in my bag, but to be honest, I did a 30 muscle up workout and I had no grips on and my calluses held up, my hands held up, just absolutely no problem. So for the past few months, I haven't even touched grips. They're in my bag just in case I get a rip. I'll have to throw those on, but it hasn't been a problem. I actually would put tape if there's a beginning of a rip versus reaching for these. And then like I said, because I got the dead wedge right here, I'm an absolute meathead and sometimes I just want to lift heavy and I lift heavier than my grip can contain. So here are just really cheap lifting straps. Do you need them? Probably not. Maybe you're not lifting that heavy, but they're in my bag just in case. Oh, there is one thing missing. Boom, my Theragun. There's actually a specific slot that the Theragun goes in, which is right there. So I've had countless people reach out or actually send me massage guns, and I tell them, you're going against the Theragun. It's the gold standard. This is what, like if there's a 1 out of 10 scale, the 10, at least the way the state of the art is now, is going to be the Theragun because of portability, durability, form factor. They have, you can check out the review if you really want to go in depth of exactly why I appreciate the Theragun. And because I have the bigger bag, I don't have to sacrifice using a smaller device like I did before. And that's it. If you like this video, hit that like button. Again, links in the description. You support the channel if you use some of the Amazon links. And hit the follow, subscribe, depending on what platform, and I will see you in the next one. I got to get all of this back in that bag.